Imagine for a second that you are sitting in a fortress,
Right.
right? And you've built it entirely out of your own bad mood.
Oh, we have all been there.
Right. Like you've locked the door, you're ignoring all your text messages, and you've basically convinced yourself that everyone outside those walls is just, I don't know, too annoying or too loud.
We're just too demanding to deal with.
Exactly. And it feels incredibly powerful in the moment, just guarding your isolation like that.
Yeah, it really does.
But what happens when you suddenly realize that this fortress you built to keep the world out has actually just trapped you inside? Like, how do you even begin to dismantle that wall and find your way back to connection?
Well, that is the fundamental paradox of isolation, really. I mean, we retreat because our social battery is just completely drained and the environment feels totally overwhelming.
Yeah.
But human beings aren't wired to just stay in the fortress forever. We need a way to walk back out. And the problem is we often just lack the psychological tools to do it gracefully.
Which perfectly brings us to our mission for this deep dive. Today, we are exploring the process of how loneliness transforms. And rather than, digging through dense clinical research or anything like that, we're going to look at this through a brilliantly simple lens.
A very colorful lens, actually.
Yes, Julia Donaldson's children's book, The Go-Away Bird. We are going to trace the journey of one very grumpy, gray-crested bird to really understand the mechanics of isolation.
It's just such a remarkable source text. I mean, it takes these really complex behavioral psychology concepts, things like, projection, avoidant attachment, vulnerability.
Big, heavy words.
Right. And it just strips them down to their absolute essence.
And I want to set a quick ground rule for you listening right now. As we map out this transformation of loneliness, we are intentionally framing these high-level concepts using simple, child-friendly analogies.
Yeah, which is so helpful.
It is. The goal is to give you like a framework to explain the mechanics of loneliness and connection to the kids in your life, or honestly to just give you a mental shortcut to use on yourself the next time you're stubbornly guarding your own bad mood.
Because sometimes the absolute best way to understand our own adult defense mechanisms is to just, look at them playing out on a metaphorical playground.
So true.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into that playground. Our main character is the go-away bird, and she's sitting up in her nest. Visually, she's drawn with these kind of muted orange-gray wings and a fine gray crest.
She's established her fortress.
She has. But the universe immediately tests her isolation by sending her 3 very different, very vibrant visitors. You've got the green chit-chat bird, the red pick-peck bird, and the blue flip-flap bird.
And what stands out here isn't just that she has visitors. It's what those specific visitors represent in developmental psychology.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they don't just say hello. They're offering the holy trinity of childhood bonding.
I noticed that. Like, instead of walking through these encounters one by one, if we look at them collectively, it's a full spectrum assault on her isolation.
Absolutely.
Because the green bird,
Right.
he asked her to chat about the weather and the color of eggs. So that's communication.
Spot on.
And then the red bird points out juicy berries on the twigs and invites her to eat until they grow big.
Oh.
So that's shared sustenance.
Right.
And the blue bird, he wants to spread wings, soar up high, and do cartwheels through the bright blue sky, which is physical play.
Communication, sharing food, and play. I mean, those are the fundamental pillars of how we build a community, whether you're a toddler or a grown adult.
Yeah.
And the go-away bird just methodically rejects every single avenue. But it is the way she rejects them that really reveals the anatomy of loneliness.
Oh, she goes completely on the offensive.
She really does.
Like, she doesn't just say, no, thank you, I need some space.
Well,
When the green bird offers conversation, she says, go away, I don't want to talk today. But then she actively attacks him. She calls him much too chatty. She says he's catty and claims his voice drives her batty.
and she does the exact same thing to the others.
She does. She tells the red bird his eyes are beady, he's much too greedy, and looking at him makes her feel silly.
It's so aggressive.
And for the bluebird offering play, she calls him whirly and whizzy and much too busy, saying just the sight of him makes her dizzy.
Yeah, wow.
It totally reminds me of a toddler sitting in a sandbox, just guarding their plastic dump trucks, screaming no at anyone whose shadow even crosses the sand.
That is a perfect analogy.
But I have a question about this behavior. Is she just being, a spoiled territorial kid in a sandbox? Or is there a deeper psychological mechanism happening here? Like, why attack their personalities?
Well, I would argue it goes far beyond just being territorial. What we're seeing here is a textbook example of psychological projection being used as a defense mechanism.
Project.
Yeah. When we are emotionally exhausted or deeply lonely, admitting that we are the problem, admitting that we just lack the capacity to engage, that requires a massive amount of vulnerability.
And emotional maturity, which is hard.
Exactly. It's so much easier to just blame the outside world.
Oh, I see.
Right. To avoid the discomfort of our own internal state, we project the problem outward. We convince ourselves that other people are simply unbearable.
So she's making it their fault.
Precisely. If the green bird is catty and the red bird is greedy and the blue bird is dizzying well, then the go-away bird is perfectly justified in her isolation.
She isn't lonely. She's just surrounded by annoying people.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying, but I do want to push back a little on the phrase defense mechanism. Because when you say defense mechanism, it implies she is protecting herself from an actual threat.
Fair point.
But the green bird just wanted to talk about egg colors. Like, what is she actually defending against?
She is defending against the energetic cost of connection. Because connection requires reciprocity, right? If you chat, you have to listen. If you share berries, you have to negotiate portions.
That makes sense.
If you play, you have to coordinate your movements. When someone's social battery is depleted, those basic social contracts feel like monumental threats to their peace.
Wow, yeah.
So she builds this wall of insults to keep all those energetic demands completely at bay.
She is literally cementing the bricks in her wall of no. It's fascinating because it translates so perfectly to adulthood.
Oh, 100%.
We sit in our apartments, we ignore our friends' texts, and we tell ourselves, I'm not isolating, my friends are just too loud, and going out is too expensive. We justify the fortress.
We do. And inside that fortress, we feel this false sense of control. Like the go-away bird feels incredibly powerful, telling everyone to just leave her tree.
But that illusion of control sets up the crucial turning point in the story, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because a wall that's built to keep friendly people out also traps you inside when something genuinely terrifying shows up. And that is exactly what happens. Enter the brown get-you bird.
Yes, the crisis of isolation.
It completely shifts the tone of the narrative. Like, this bird doesn't want to chat or do cartwheels. He hovers above her tree and literally announces, I am the get-you bird.
It's chilling.
He tells her he's looking for a special treat and that she is the very bird he wants to eat. I mean, that is a massive escalation from annoying small talk to a literal predator.
And notice how the dynamic of power just instantly evaporates.
It completely vanishes. And she reacts the only way she knows how, right? She relies on the tool that worked on everyone else.
Her catchphrase.
Yeah. She shakes her head and uses her catchphrase. She says, go away, go away, go away. I don't want to be your prey.
She's trying so hard.
And she actually verbalizes her fear. She says she's feeling wary, he's much too scary, and things are getting hairy. But the brown bird just replies, I'm coming to get you. Her magic words do absolutely nothing.
Well, this sequence brilliantly illustrates the difference between setting a boundary and just reckless isolation.
How so?
Boundaries are a social contract. They only function when you are dealing with a community that actually respects social norms.
Right.
The green, red, and blue birds, they were polite. When she threw up a wall, they respected it and they left. But a predator doesn't care about your boundary.
That makes me think of the playground bully.
Like,
go away is a great tool when you're dealing with kind kids who might just be, I don't know, a little overeager.
Exactly.
But when the actual playground bully shows up, or when a real crisis hits in life, shouting, go away from behind a wall you built yourself doesn't make you empowered. It makes you an easy target.
It really does. It forces a confrontation with the biological reality of why humans and birds, for that matter, flock together in the first place.
Yeah.
We so often confuse isolation with independence, but independence is having the capability and the resources to stand on your own 2 feet. Pure, stubborn isolation is refusing to stand with anyone else, which just strips away your entire safety net. The go-away bird is experiencing the raw vulnerability of having successfully chased away her entire support system.
Which leaves her entirely defenseless.
Yeah.
And it brings up the most difficult logistical problem of loneliness.
What's that?
When you are in trouble, how do you ask for help from the very people you just insulted and banished?
Yes.
You can't just yell, hey, remember when I called you beady-eyed and greedy? Could you come save my life? Like, she needs a bridge.
She needs an intermediary who hasn't been subjected to all her hostility.
Exactly. Enter the yellow comeback bird. And I just have to say, this character is pure narrative joy.
He really is.
The yellow bird waddles toward the tree. He opens his bill and just starts quacking this new directive. Come back, come back, come back.
It's so simple but so effective.
Right. And against all odds, he brings back the green bird, the red bird, and the blue bird.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. They form what the text actually calls a noisy mob of fluff and feather.
I love that phrase.
Me too. Red, blue, yellow, green, and gray, all rising up together, and they chase the scary brown bird far away.
It's a fantastic visual, but the mechanics of that rescue really deserve a closer look.
Oh, here is where the story gets incredibly layered for me. Because if you think about the specific traits of the rescue squad.
The traits she hated.
Yes. The go-away bird couldn't stand the noisy chattiness of the green bird or the whizzy-dizzy chaotic energy of the blue bird. She found them deeply annoying.
But what do you need to scare off a predator?
Exactly. You don't need quiet, polite behavior. You need a noisy, chaotic, high-energy mob.
Right.
The very traits she weaponized against them to justify her isolation were the exact traits that made them a formidable defense.
That is just a phenomenal observation. It completely flips her initial judgments right on their head.
It really does.
You're touching on the evolutionary advantage of diverse temperaments within a community. I mean, if a community was entirely made up of quiet, isolated, go-away birds, they would all be eaten.
They wouldn't stand a chance.
Exactly. It is the loud, the chaotic, the fast, and the talkative individuals that actually disrupt a threat. The story is subtly teaching kids that the varying energies they might find annoying in their peers are actually collective strengths when applied to a shared problem.
The dizzy energy she hated was the very thing that saved her. That is so cool.
It really is.
But, beyond the logistics of the rescue, I am honestly stunned by the emotional weight of this scene. Because they didn't have to come back.
You're talking about the element of grace.
Exactly. I mean, think about how difficult that is in practice. The go-away bird was incredibly mean. She made highly specific personal insults about their voices and their eyes.
Yeah, she made it personal.
And yet when the yellow bird calls, the rejected birds do not hesitate. They don't demand an apology first.
They don't.
They don't say, let the brown bird have hers, she called me catty. They just show up. It is a profound demonstration of unearned forgiveness.
And then that is such a complex lesson to communicate to a child. We often teach kids about fairness, right? Like if someone is mean to you, you don't play with them.
Right, set those boundaries.
Exactly. But this story introduces the concept of grace showing up for someone in crisis, regardless of their past behavior.
Wow.
It illustrates that a healthy community doesn't just keep a strict ledger of grievances. Sometimes you just have to be the fluff and feather rescue squad for someone who is stuck in their own grumpiness.
Love that. I love the idea of striving to be a yellow comeback bird for a friend who has isolated themselves.
It's a great goal.
But the rescue itself isn't the end of the journey, is it? In fact, I'd argue it sets up an even harder test for our main character. Because you can be saved by a community, but once the adrenaline fades and the brown bird is gone, you still have to make a choice.
The danger has passed. Her fortress is secure again.
Right. She could very easily just double down on her pride. She could say, wow, that was terrifying. Thanks for the help. Now please leave my tree.
But she doesn't.
She doesn't. And the author highlights this with a very specific physical action. After the predator is chased away, the text notes that the go-away bird hung down her head.
Let's unpack the psychology of that posture for a second. Why do you think that physical detail is so crucial to the transformation?
Well, it's because it is the physical manifestation of humility. And I want to be clear, it's not humiliation, it's humility.
There's a big difference.
Huge difference. Think about a kid who just threw a massive tantrum, pushed all their toys away, and then suddenly realizes they were acting terribly.
Yeah, we've all seen that.
The adrenaline leaves their body, they realize they are safe, and suddenly they feel that flush of embarrassment. They hang their head.
Right.
It takes an enormous amount of courage to drop your pride in that moment, instead of just staying angry to save face.
That is the real friction point of true change. So often when people push others away, they feel locked into that decision.
Oh, absolutely.
We feel like we just have to commit to the bit. To admit that you want connection after loudly demanding isolation, it feels like a defeat. It feels like losing an argument with yourself.
I've absolutely been guilty of that. You declare you want to be alone, you storm into your room, and 20 minutes later you're completely bored and lonely.
But you can't leave.
Right. Your pride won't let you walk back out to the living room and say, actually, I want to hang out. You just sit there, stubbornly holding up the wall.
But the go-away bird provides the antidote to that stubbornness.
She does.
She doesn't let her past behavior dictate her future reality. She drops the pride, and she signals that change by completely rewiring her vocabulary.
A beautiful shift in the script. Instead of her aggressive catchphrase, she looks at the birds and says, "Stay. You can stay. You can stay."
It's an invitation.
Yeah. She actively admits out loud, "I do want some friends today." She tells them to start playing, no delaying, let's get hoppin', and she establishes a brand new boundary. Nobody go away. You can stay.
She is verbally dismantling the fortress.
Literally taking it apart.
By changing "go away" to "you can stay," she is giving children, and frankly the adults reading to them, a tangible script for reversing isolation.
Using these really simple, kid-friendly terms.
Exactly. The transformation of loneliness isn't this passive event where you just wait for someone to drag you out of your nest.
Right.
It requires active participation. It requires looking at the people around you and explicitly giving them permission to re-enter your space.
So if we pull all these threads together, what is the ultimate takeaway from this gray-crested bird's journey?
Well, we covered a lot of ground.
We did. We started with an exploration of how we build walls. We looked at how the go-away bird methodically pushed away the 3 pillars of connection, conversation, shared food, and play.
Right, by projecting her own exhaustion onto others and insulting their personalities.
Exactly. And then we explored the dangerous illusion of that isolation. The fortress felt like power until a real threat emerged, exposing the biological and emotional vulnerability of lacking a flock.
And then came the turning point.
Yes, a rescue born out of grace. A squad led by the yellow bird, utilizing the very chaotic, noisy traits the go-away bird had initially despised to protect her when she least deserved it.
Such a powerful moment.
And finally, the quiet courage of humility. Dropping the ego, hanging the head, and changing the script from go away to you can stay.
It really just maps out the entire emotional arc of loneliness, from self-imposed exile all the way to community reintegration.
And it serves as a powerful reminder for you listening. Whether you are dealing with a 5-year-old having a meltdown in a sandbox or a 50-year-old colleague projecting their stress in an office, we all have days where we construct fortresses out of bad moods.
Oh, absolutely.
We all act like the go-away bird sometimes. The beauty of understanding this framework is recognizing that we always have agency in the next moment.
We do.
If you are watching someone isolate, you can choose to be the yellow comeback bird, offering a bridge of grace. And if you are the one sitting alone in your nest, you can always choose to swallow your pride, change your words, and invite the world back in.
The path back to connection is always available the moment you're willing to dismantle the wall.
But I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. A scenario that pushes past the final page of this book.
Oh, what's that?
The go-away bird hung her head, she dropped her pride, and she invited everyone to play, which is a phenomenal first step.
Definitely.
But what happens the next day? When the adrenaline of the predator attack has completely worn off and she is just sitting on a branch next to the green bird.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, how does she actually address the fact that she called him catty? Or the red bird, greedy and beady-eyed? Lowering the drawbridge and saying, you can stay, gets people back into the fortress. But how do we teach kids the delicate, incredibly vulnerable art of a true apology?
That is the real work.
Because when a wall comes down, it always leaves a pile of rubble on the ground and someone has to clean it up. Until next time, keep digging deep.